All good.
Awesome. Alrighty. Well, thanks for having me on again, Lenny. I wanted to share with you something that we did in your classroom around a product called MakeDO, which I was very excited when I was shown what a MakeDO screw was. And the idea is that you can use them to help little kids join cardboard together really quickly and easily. I know when I've done cardboard projects with kids in the past, you've had to have very strong masking tape or trying to find really creative ways to actually get cardboard to stick together and construct it. And so it really helps us to get straight into the building and creating and making. So I was presented with this opportunity to design some learning around the use of MakeDO, and we decided to test it out on Eleni students. And what we did was we needed a few things. We needed some cardboard, we needed the MakeDO screws, and that was all well and good, but what I wanted to do was kind of wrap some of the more contemporary pedagogies around them. And we've certainly been talking about that today with the different types of thinking, the design thinking. And I really wanted to bring it into the 21st century and give Eleni students and the students that we work on with this project in the future some deeper learning that we wrap around some cardboard and these MakeDO screws. So we started off with just finding lots of cardboard that we could actually use for the project. You can use cardboard of any shape and size and MakeDO work inside of those. We got some MakeDO kits from MakeDO, which includes MakeDO screws, screwdrivers, and these special safe saws, which are really good for kids to cut cardboard with, so they're not using Stanley knives. And then the big thinking that we had to wrap around it was mainly in that third column that you can see on the screen, which was looking at how does it link in with the design and technologies curriculum. There was a lot of art curriculum that we could bring into this as well, so making sure we're ticking off some of those boxes, and then thinking about how we could build some skills with these students to actually bring them to the 21st century and provide them with an opportunity to learn how to be collaborative, because we decided to make it a team effort and a team project. So the project we posed to the student was to create an Indigenous creature with a 21st century twist. And so using cardboard to build and construct and make something that has potentially a solution to a problem that an animal might face. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about one of my favorite innovations that were created. And so here's me in Eleni's classroom. I was showing them an example of a little koala that I made out of cardboard with MakeDO. And we read the story Wombat Stew. For those in Australia, it's a very iconic book that lots of kids in Australia love to read along with, just to get them thinking about the different types of Australian animals that they might be able to create and make. We then wrapped around a little bit of a scaffold for them to work with. They all got a clipboard with lots of pieces of paper, and we scaffolded the task for them to follow the process and linking it directly to the design and technologies curriculum. So you can see here we kind of followed the processes of what's in the Australian curriculum. And then we put out the actual curriculum elements so that we knew that we could assess those and the students work through the design process. We also wrapped around the 21st Century Learning Design Framework collaboration decision tree, which helps us to actually think more deeply about how we wrap collaborative skill building in our lessons. So if you want to learn more about that, I'll put a link up on the screen about the 21st Century Learning Design Framework. Then we went through a bit of time. Here's a picture of the kids actually working through the process. So they started with investigating the screws and the cardboard and how to cut it, how to fold it safely, what they could create and make. And then they worked through this process to actually then design their Australian animal, work to produce in teams, and then one of the final steps was to actually evaluate how well they went in meeting the design brief, and then some of the things that they did along the way that might have been challenging, some of the things that changed from their designs, and then we assessed them at the end with this final sort of booklet that they worked together collaboratively on. They all had roles that they had to do to complete, so to ensure that the actual tasks themselves were actually interconnected. And you can see here that this is the final product of what they actually created. So these are the little Australian animals that they all worked to build, and they were very proud of them, and they actually went on display at Federation Square during the Arts Learning Festival here in Melbourne in May. Just really quickly, we're going to extend this to the next level, and we're going to take a few teachers through this project again in 2018, and we're going to try and integrate more of a STEM and digital technologies focus by putting some moving parts onto the animals. One of my favorite creations that was made was actually a wombat with a reversing camera to help him walk backwards, which was a pretty cool little project that was created with a group of grade 2 students. So that's it from me. If you want more about 21CLD, there's some links on the screen now, and I've written a blog about the project as well on my website, which is collectiveeducation.com.au.